Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. This is the Sunday Dharma stream from Daishu-in West. I'm Koju. Thanks for tuning in. Rainy day in Humboldt County here. Kind of nice actually. After the long summer that we've had, starting to get cold and feeling like fall. It's of course in the in a Japanese Zen temple. During the summer, it's extremely hot in Kyoto, and usually the schedule, because the days are long, you end up doing a little bit more samu, and sitting a little bit less, just because there's more daylight, and then as the days get shorter, you start to kind of tighten the screws a little bit and get ready for the fall Hongo period. So we're in full effect now, and it really feels like it. When it starts getting cold, you're like, okay, yeah, this is a Zen temple. This is there's something familiar and very inspirational about it, actually. And the cold, speaking of the cold reminds us, actually, there's a wonderful phrase that we use to know for oneself hot and cold. And that is to say that we know without any intermediary or third party that it's hot or cold, frequently cold. And this is another way of saying, well, I often put it that, you don't need an intermediary to hear the raven, cawing, or you don't need an intermediary to, hear the rain drip, drip, drip outside. You don't need an intermediary to know the taste of the tea, or the smell of the incense, or whatever is going on at the moment, the sound of the traffic outside your window. There's no intermediary necessary. Those things are known without actually any eye present, without any thinking present. It's not, you don't have to consciously be like, oh, I'm going to do the thing. It's automatic. It's already there. Maybe there's a thought that happens afterwards, but the thing has already happened, and the thought follows afterwards. And it's actually a very subtle and very wondrous thing that these things arise spontaneously in consciousness without any involvement from a supposed doer. And so the same way with hot and cold, knowing for oneself hot and cold, it arises spontaneously. You don't need somebody to tell you about it. It already is. And that is, regardless of how you feel about any of it, that doesn't matter. Not any more than anything else. Those feelings, those ideas about it also come up, and, they are spontaneous and wonderful too. And there's no problem with them, no matter what they are. They might be, you might hate the cold, but that doesn't matter either. It's just another spontaneous arising in consciousness, which is wondrous and subtle in the way that it happens, actually. And we fail to appreciate it. And there's a famous story about failing to appreciate that I'll relate briefly, because it's in this video of Morinaga Soka Roshi's that I've been looking at with our friend Rie this last week. And it's a long ago in China story. There's a monk, his name's Ken, and he's been practicing with his teacher for a long time, 20 years or so, and he still is not satisfied. He has, nothing's happened for him yet, shall we say. And then his teacher asks him to carry a letter to a place very, very far away. And being long ago in China, they're walking there, because that's how you get one place to another when you're a monk anyway. And he's kind of distraught by the whole thing, because he's like, well, I've been training for 20 years by my master's side and I'm still not enlightened. So, I mean, this is going to set me back, like half a year, who knows what's going to happen on the road. This is terrible. Like, what am I going to do? And he confides in one of his anideshi, his brother monks, superior. Genjoza is his name. So he relates his problem to Genjoza, and Genjoza says, look, you can still practice on the road. You can still practice when you're traveling. It's not a problem, and in fact, I tell you what, I'll go with you and help. And so he says, okay, well, Genjoza, knows what he's talking about. This should be okay. So they go. They leave together. But they don't get very far before he sort of falls into it again. And he's like, what are we doing? What are we doing way out here? This is awful. Like, this is pointless. I came to practice. He has an ideal about what practice is. And walking along the road, delivering mail is not part of it. And Genjoza says, look, I will do whatever I can to help you. All the little things, all the stuff that I can do for you in your place, I will do. But there are just 5 things that I cannot do for you. And that is, eating your food for you, putting on and taking off your clothes for you. I can't piss and shit for you. I can't, urinate and defecate on your behalf. And I can't carry your body along the road. Those are things that only you can do for yourself. And Ken Osho heard that, and of course, had great, unexcelled, unsurpassed enlightenment. Or, really, it's probably more accurate to say, he took sort of his first step on the road to real practice, because he saw that it was up to him. He had to do it for himself. Although, he might have a teacher and he might lean on his teacher, it was something that was his, by his own effort, shall we say. Jiryoku, your own strength, as opposed to Taryoku, which is like the strength of others. And it's all that way. And this is just another way of saying that it is seen, whatever arises is experienced without intermediaries. There isn't any other there. The thing, the manifestation, whatever happens, arises of itself, spontaneously. And it doesn't require a third party. It doesn't actually even require a first party. There's no I required. There's no I there. There's no I there until we conceptualize of the thing happening in relation to I. And then the whole dualistic thing comes up. And that's fine too. There's no problem there. Except that we make it one, of course, inevitably. As Ken Osho did here, where we, there's no problem with delivering a letter someplace far away, except that we make it such, and we attach to an idea of what is according to our wishes and what is not according to our wishes. And be very dramatic about it. This isn't right. This is not as I would have it. This is not how I intended. And then there's a big problem, of course. And we carry on and carry on and carry on until somebody says, hey, look, it's right here, right now. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can do the looking for you right here and right now. It is something that only we can do for ourselves. And in fact, when that looking or that seeing is seen, when it's when the way things are is seen clearly, shall we say, then there isn't any I seeing there. It isn't in fact that we know ourselves hot and cold, as the saying goes. There isn't any ourself. It's just hot or cold. And there isn't any, I feel hot and cold. Maybe there's, maybe that comes afterwards. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And often people inclined towards spiritual practice get caught up. Oh, I'm conceiving of it as, myself. And I shouldn't do that. And that's still just getting stuck on something else of how things should be. And in the end, even getting stuck isn't separate from it either. But we have to talk about it somehow, or nothing ever moves along, shall we say. And that's the whole thing. Just knowing for oneself, shall we say. But the knowing for oneself is just knowing. Just that thing, 100%, unadulterated, without any dilution or anything masking it or anything obscuring it. 100%. Cold. 100%. Birds in the tree, or traffic on the road, or whatever it might be. Without any obstruction, anywhere, ever. It's actually not even possible. Right. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to turn off comments on these because nobody's commenting anyway. And if anybody wants to get in contact, then the correct way to do it is to write an email to the temple at contact@daishu-in-west.org. That's the best way, and it comes straight to me. よろしくお願いします。